Glory, fame, power, all can be attained in the Coliseum. The Colosseum, founded in ancient Rome, was a place where prisoners were sent to fight to the death, usually for entertainment, for the patricians who, well, paid for the entertainment. Usually in the Colosseum, fighters would fight against each other, and the winner would be granted another day of life. Sometimes even people who were not prisoners inside of the Colosseum went in for glory and fame and money. Also, did I mention there was a cash prize? All the more reason to enter the Colosseum, right? No. See, the conditions inside the Colosseum were horrible, especially given the fact that a lot of them were, as I said before, prisoners of war or slaves. And the people who entered the Colosseum did not have to live there, they could enter. So I guess it was an entry fee. Anyways, what I'm trying to get to is one of the most famous warriors of the Colosseum of ancient Rome was Spartacus, the rebel gladiator. And when I say Spartacus, I do not mean, "This is Sparta!" That is from the movie 300, not from actual Rome. Now, Spartacus was a prisoner of war who despised the Roman soldiers from taking him from his peaceful life in the thrash of North Greece. He fought in the Colosseum until one day he decided to rebel. You see, him and the other 70 prisoners who were locked together decided to overpower the guard once he had came back with the keys to unlock them. Spartacus fell down in an angry type of roar to display that he was in some type of pain, and while the guard came over to check on him, 2 other men jumped on, strangled him, and killed him. And then they all took the keys and unlocked themselves in under 5 minutes and escaped through the tunnels inside of the amphitheater. During their time of hiding, they decided to hide in Mount Versus, a mountain north of Greece. They hide here until almost a year later when the Roman Senate finally decides to do something about Spartacus. But by the time they decide to do this, he has 70,000 slaves in his army. And to make matters worse, the Spartans had been loitering from the patricians and had defeated the Romans in over 3 separate battles. And so, the Romans decided to send a powerful leader by the name of Marcus Carsus to take care of Spartacus and his men. The Romans were victorious and executed and crucified over 6,000 of the slaves. Spartacus was also defeated. But to the slaves he still remained as a sign of strength and rebellion, and is not forgotten to this day. The point of telling you about the history of the Colosseum and Spartacus was to enlighten you on the fact that Rome was not always a great and fun place like it is today. It was once a civilization ruined by greed and wealth for power. For instance, it is believed that one of the downfalls of Rome was its spending in the military and its political corruption. Did you know the throne went to the highest bidder for a long period of time, and 27 of their 37 emperors died due to assassination, simply because it was so corrupt? The army was both irresponsible and expensive. These same guards that were supposed to be guarding these slaves were so irresponsible and so expensive, you would think they would have the decency to send more than one to unlock their prisoners, out of fear that something like that would happen. The Colosseum was nothing more than a place where people with overwhelming amounts of money could go to enjoy the killing of others. Now, don't get me wrong, Roman civilization was a great help, and if you look back on it, it could truly help us nowadays, simply because their infrastructure and engineering was a great resource. They would use hidden corridors and pathways to move the prisoners and to, well, move throughout the Colosseum. And if you look at our schools and our systems today, you can see a couple of hidden corridors just used to transport many goods or for safety reasons. For instance, say that there was a local shooting. These corridors could be used to hide students or workers. That is one of the great and many influential things that the Roman civilization has given to the world. Roman civilization also helped influence our republican governments. For instance, if you look at our legislative system, I'm tongue-tied. If you look at the Senate, theirs was 300, ours was 100. Even though we reduced the amount, it still holds to the fact that they looked at the same type of system where they would make the laws and the bills and select the people who would be assisting in running. The same thing as our legislative branch. The only difference is they are 6-year terms instead for life. Our judicial and executive branches also come from the Roman civilization, especially given the fact that our judicial branch is pretty much made up of the Supreme Court and the president, whereas theirs was just 8 predators. Did I say predators? Creators. Not predators. This is a predator. This is a creator. I think. Tell me if I'm wrong in the comment section below. Bye!